This is the Silloth Vintage Rally held on the green at Silloth, and this is the 2010 event, which was in brilliant sunshine for both Saturday and Sunday. Sunday being the main day for the vintage equipment. And here you see some of the vintage cars, classic and vintage cars, lined up there, and now the military vehicles. And as we come across, you can see the green is parched and brown, and we're coming now towards the buses and commercial vehicles. And in the foreground we're coming now to the motorcycles. Behind the motorcycles lined up are the vintage and classic cars in the line behind there, and behind that is Rainer Fletcher's Funfair, which is again very popular with the young people that come to the rally. And now we see the steamers, and they come from as far afield as Newcastle, but we have one or two locals as well, Keswick for instance. This is the central area of the ring where any special display takes part, and on the side of the ring here all the classic and vintage tractors are lined up. On the left here we see the side shows, and just beside the side shows is the push bikes, many of which are of great interest and are owned in the main by Eric Davenport, our chairman. We have shop bikes, penny farthings and three-wheelers. And then we go to the climbing frame, and you'll see a young man here halfway up the climbing frame. There is a security attached to him, so it's maybe not as frightening as it looks, but nevertheless it's very good for the young people and they do enjoy it. In the centre of the green also on Saturday is the junior football knockout competition, with teams competing from as far away as Whitehaven, Abbeytown and many local teams, which is always popular. Here we see the four steamers, and at the far end of this, behind them, is the miniature steamer with a young schoolboy at the controls. Twice a day, both days, is a special display, and in today's instance it's put on by the Extreme Trials display team. On show here are the classic racing motorcycles owned by Jim Snaith of Silloth, where he has raced them all over, including Daytona, Savannah and the Isle of Man. The display of tractors we see here are a very wide range, including ones that are as good as when they came out of the factory, where others are straight out of the nettle bed from the stackyard. Here we have a standard Fordson pre-war alongside a 1960s classic Massey Ferguson. In the lineup also are David Brown's Internationals and small grey Fergusons. There is a large selection of stationary engines here, including the large barrel type there, butter churn, which is of great interest to the public. And now we come across, and that's a Lister engine driving a water pump. The famous 6 horsepower Lister engine, which would go forever. And Allen side there, very popular in its day, and these other immaculately turned out stationary engines are a credit to the owners. In the lineup of cars we see the Morgan look-alike, the Triumph Spitfire and also the standard Vanguard. Here we have a group of minis, including a Mini Mo, and after the minis comes the Rolls Royce, which is done up for weddings. Finally we have the Grand Parade. Here we see the sedan cycle and the penny farthing, and they in turn are followed by the 1930 International. Following on in the Grand Parade are the steamers, the motorcycles, vintage and classic cars, commercial vehicles, military vehicles, buses and caravans and campers.